A little bit about COVID and specifically the effects of long COVID and how they've impacted my spinal stenosis. Back in January of this year, 2023, my family and I were diagnosed as having COVID. It was a fairly mild case, seemed to pass within several days. However, for probably a month afterwards, I started experiencing and had been experiencing bouts of extreme exhaustion that would hit me for 4 hours at a shot, where I just had no energy to do anything. Couldn't function. It was very draining, to say the least. Along with that came pains in my chest and in my body that were certainly not specifically related to my spinal stenosis. I went for a follow-up with my doctor, did some tests, everything seemed to come out fine. Eventually, the exhaustion that I'd been feeling subsided and went away. The pains in my chest and elsewhere continued on to the point where it had a major impact on my spinal stenosis. The pain and the difficulty that I had been feeling in just moving normally because of stenosis was exaggerated extremely by what turned out to be diagnosed as musculoskeletal issues, if I'm saying that correctly, which is one of the potential after effects of COVID and symptoms of long COVID. So in addition to the exhaustion and pain from the spinal stenosis, I now have these effects of long COVID added on top of that, which makes it very difficult at times to move about, to sit, to walk, to function, to do just normal everyday tasks, much less trying to keep myself healthy, to try and spend time on my treadmill, to exercise, to try and take care of myself, to try and combat the effects of stenosis and try and keep myself as healthy as I can to hopefully lessen the impact of it. But it definitely is something difficult to deal with. So always consider that if you're feeling worse than normal from your stenosis and you have had COVID in the past, it might be worth looking into to see if you're one of those people like myself that have the musculoskeletal issues because of the long COVID, and try and learn how to live with and deal with that on top of your stenosis. The main thing is don't let any of it get you down and stop you. It's going to be much more difficult, but you have to just try and push through. I do that every day. There are days when I just don't want to even get out of bed because I'm just in pain. But I can't let that stop me. And I would hope that other people would see this and try and push through it as well. And I know people have different circumstances that it's definitely much more difficult in some cases than in others. But the bottom line is just don't give up. Don't let this beat you. Push on, fight it. Just all that you can, fight it. And take care of yourself the best that you can.